Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy Abby coming at you again with another video. In this one, we will be drawing All Might on his aftermath after the battle at El Camino Road with One for All. Honestly, I really liked this episode. I felt like it had a lot of emotion on it. The artwork was amazing. I honestly think that is one of the best episodes from My Hero Academia so far. But anyways, as you guys can tell, I'm sketching All Might as of right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at see how I end up getting it to look. Hopefully it actually looks like All Might. But also, if you guys could go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with your friends, I would honestly appreciate that a lot. Alright guys, as you guys can tell, I already have the sketch all done, and I'm beginning to do the outlining. For my line work, I have a set of fine liners from the brand Pro Art, as well as a Micron pen. Those are the ones that I use, and I find that they don't smudge a lot when you try to color the piece later. But let's go ahead and ink this drawing and see what it looks like inked. Also, as you guys can tell, for the shadow areas, I'm gonna go ahead and use mostly Sharpie pens and markers to go ahead and work through the thicker black areas faster. One thing to keep in mind is that with this kind of markers, you might have to go through it multiple times. Otherwise, you might end up seeing a lot of black lines, some of them darker than others. I don't really like that look, but you guys can go ahead and see how many times you might have to go through it. Okay, and to start, I did went ahead and started with the light blue Ohuhu marker number 63. I went ahead and went through the edges of the suit, since that's where the highlights would be. I also went ahead and used the number 64 marker to go ahead and color the darker areas of the suit. As you guys remember, we already colored the actual dark areas with the Sharpie marker. And we're just gonna go ahead and follow the same process through the entirety of the suit with the color blue. So let's go ahead and finish that part. Alright, and moving on to the face. For the face, I did use Copic markers number E11 for the lighter areas. As you guys can tell, that's the marker I'm currently using near All Might's hair. That's the one I'm gonna use a base coat all over the face, and that's precisely what I'm doing right now. After that, I do go over the face with an E13 Copic marker for the darker areas. Same with the suit, the really dark areas have already been colored with the Sharpie marker. When it comes to the arm, since it was raised up, and the highlights, I wanted to go ahead and use the Ohuhu marker number 29, which is lighter than any of the Copics I have at the moment. And that's what I'm using on the side of the arm of All Might, facing his face or head. Once I got done coloring his arm with that 29, I went and used also number 13 and number 15 of the Copic markers that I have available. And after that, I went ahead and repeated the same process on the other arm that All Might has next to his waist. Now moving on to the red areas of his suit. For that, I used a Ohuhu marker number 12, which is a soft red, and I went ahead and used that on the chest, shoulders, his waist and lats, also the leg and calves part of his suit. Once I was done with the number 12 red, I moved on to the 15 red, which is a darker tone. I used this one to cover the shaded areas of his chest as well as the rest of his body that had red on it. And pretty much, like in the chest, I went ahead and repeated the process along the side of his waist, legs, and calves. Now moving on to the belt. For that one I did use yellow number 49 and 34. Now those two are the only two yellows that I used on the belt, number 34 being the little darker one, and 49 being a little bit more of the highlight tone. I also used the same yellows that I used on the belt for the calf areas. On his calves, I went ahead and used the same number 49 and 34 to color the light and dark areas of his calves.
Turn up, let's go.
I repeated the same process on his hair. The only difference is that on his hair I used number 49 for the highlights and number 34, which is darker than the one I used on his belt, for the shadows.
Let's go.
Now, as you guys can tell, I did forget to go ahead and color that midsection on his abs, which is supposed to be red. So real quick, I did went over with the same number 12 red for the base coat and number 15 for the darker areas. here what I began doing is adding a little bit of damage to his suit. It was looking a little too clean, and he did just finish going through a battle with All For One, so he was supposed to be looking a little bit more beat up, so I started adding scratches all over his suit, as you guys can tell in the white area. I went ahead and do that all over his suit, face, arms, pretty much throughout his body, to convey the fact that he was in a very, very rough battle.
Turn up, let's go.
One thing I forgot to mention is that I also went ahead and used for the head piece of his belt the same yellows that I used on the belt, but for the gray parts I used a light coat of CG 0.5 and WG4 for the darker areas. That's what I used on the headpiece of his belt.
Turn up, let's go.
When it comes to the background, I did some rubble and I used purples for most of it. I went ahead and used, for the light areas, a number 75 purple, and for the darker areas, I went ahead and used a number 73. Now, I repeat that same process for the bigger chunk of the rubble that's on, like, going from the midsection of All Might down towards his legs.
Turn up. Let's go. Let's go.
And by here all I'm doing is I'm just using a ruler to go ahead and do the buildings that I already had kind of sketched out freehand. They were a little crooked, so I decided to get a ruler out and start outlining them. For the buildings, I went ahead and used the same process with the purples. I just used, rather than the 75 for the light, I used a 77. And for the dark, I kept to the 73, passing it multiple times to get it darker than the background, as well as a little bit of black on some areas. Added some clouds on it so that way the black of the sky would not get just lost. That way the building wouldn't just like look like three purple pillars hanging on the side. And as you guys can tell, I'm also doing a black outline with a Sharpie marker around the buildings and the clouds. That way it's easier for me to use a thicker tip Sharpie and go ahead and cover that area faster. In some areas, because the details were so small, I did have to go ahead and use a Sharpie ultra fine point permanent marker. It's not like a fine liner, but it's a lot smaller than what I'm using at the moment. That's what I used. After that, I just went ahead and used a regular Sharpie marker to cover most of the area, and did multiple coats to go ahead and get it as dark as possible.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Alright guys, well here you guys have it. This is the finished drawing. I honestly really did like the way it turned out, especially because I did went out of my comfort zone, and I did a little bit of a background, well, the background that I had on the picture that I used for reference, but this one's really a piece that I'm honestly really happy with. If you guys like the video, feel free to give it a like, smash the subscribe button so you guys can see more cool videos like this one, and go ahead and just share this with your friends, man. Like, honestly, I feel like I have been improving. Obviously, if you take a look at some of my first videos to this one, I have been improving a lot. There's still a lot of room for improvement, but I mean, just look at this, dude. This is honestly my favorite drawing, or my favorite finished drawing, colored ink, everything drawing that I have ever done, and I feel like they just keep getting better and better. Hope you guys honestly did like this video. If you did, like I said, just subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. But anyways, this is your boy Drawing Sensei, signing out.